A pregnant woman sits across from her husband at their anniversary dinner, expecting celebration. Instead, he slides her divorce papers between the champagne glasses. His mother had convinced him she wasn't good enough for their world. She was just a hospital volunteer, after all. But what neither of them knew was that the nobody he was discarding was actually the only daughter of a $70 billion empire. Now, her father is about to teach him exactly what it costs to underestimate the wrong woman. Welcome back, beautiful souls. Before we dive into today's story, I want to send blessings of strength and wisdom your way. May you always know your worth and never settle for less than you deserve. If you're enjoying the content, show some love by hitting that like button, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss these powerful stories. Now let's get into what happened when a billionaire made the worst mistake of his life. The envelope sat between the champagne flutes. White, heavy stock. The kind attorneys used when the contents mattered. Serena's hand stopped halfway to her glass. 3 years. 3 years to the day. And Adrian had remembered. The restaurant, Le Bernardin, their place. The flowers already waiting at the table, white peonies like the ones from their wedding. Her chest loosened. He'd been distant lately, distracted, but this meant he still... Open it. His voice came from across the table. Not warm. Flat. She looked up. Adrian wasn't smiling. His jaw held that set she'd learned to read over 36 months of marriage, the one that appeared before board meetings, before difficult calls, before decisions already made. Her fingers found the envelope's edge. The paper whispered as she lifted the flap. Petition for dissolution of marriage. The word sat at the top of the first page in serif font, formal and final. Her name, his name, case number, court district. The champagne glass sweated condensation onto the white tablecloth. Adrian. Her voice came out steady. Strange. How steady? What is this? Exactly what it looks like. He adjusted his cufflinks. The motion precise, practiced. My attorney filed this morning. You'll be served officially Monday, but I thought, given the date, you deserved to hear it from me first. The restaurant hummed around them. Silverware on china, low conversations, a woman laughing 3 tables over. Serena's hand still held the papers. Our anniversary seemed efficient. He reached for his water glass. You're already here. We're already dressed. This way we don't waste time scheduling another meeting. The word meeting landed like a slap. She set the papers down. Her wedding ring caught the candlelight. Platinum, single diamond, his grandmother's stone reset because his mother had insisted on tradition. 3 months ago, Victoria had suggested Serena remove it. Too ostentatious for someone from your background, dear. Serena had smiled and kept it on. Is this because of your mother? Adrian's expression didn't shift. This is because of us. Because we're not compatible. Because I married too young and made a mistake I'm correcting. Mistake? Serena's throat tightened, but her face stayed smooth. She'd learned that early, how to keep her face smooth when Victoria critiqued her clothes, her hair, her laugh, the way she held a fork. How to nod when Adrian's mother explained that some people simply weren't raised with certain standards. I'm pregnant. The words came out quiet. Adrian's hand stopped on his glass. For 3 seconds he didn't move. Then he picked up the glass, drank, set it down. How far along? 8 weeks. Then we'll include custody arrangements in the settlement. He pulled his phone from his jacket, typed something. My attorney will contact you about... You knew. Serena's voice stayed level. I told you last week. And I filed this morning? Adrian looked up from his phone. Serena. Be realistic. A child doesn't fix a marriage that was never going to work. My mother made that clear from the beginning. You're, he paused. You're a lovely person, but you're not equipped for this life. The charity boards, the galas, the expectations. You try, but it's exhausting watching you try. The candle flame bent in a draft from somewhere. Serena's hands rested flat on the table, one on each side of the envelope. Her pulse beat steady in her wrists, but her fingers had gone numb. Your mother kicked me out of the house last week. I know. You knew. She called me. Adrian put his phone away. You were asked to leave because you don't belong there. I should have been honest earlier. I should have ended this before. He gestured vaguely at her stomach. Before complications. Complications. Their baby. A complication. Serena's chair scraped as she stood. The sound cut through the restaurant's murmur. Heads turned. She picked up the envelope, folded it once, slid it into her purse, her movements calm, controlled, each one deliberate. The papers mention a settlement, Adrian said. You'll be comfortable. I'm not cruel. She looked at him. Really looked. The man she'd met at a hospital fundraiser 3.5 years ago, the one who'd asked about her work with pediatric patients instead of where she'd gone to school. The one who'd proposed on a random Tuesday because he said he couldn't wait for the right moment. That man wasn't sitting across from her. Maybe he never had been. Generous, she said. It's fair. You'll sign? I'll read it. She turned. Her heels clicked on the hardwood floor, steady rhythm, no hesitation. The maitre d' appeared at her elbow. Mrs. Caldwell, your coat. I'll manage. Outside, September air hit her face, cool, sharp. The city moved around her. Taxis, couples, tourists with cameras. She walked 3 blocks before her hands started shaking. Her phone buzzed. Text from Adrian. Left your flowers. You should take them. She kept walking. The hotel room cost $400 a night. Serena paid cash from the emergency fund she'd kept in her personal account, the one Adrian didn't know about because he'd never asked about her finances before they married. He'd assumed. Everyone had assumed. The girl from the children's hospital. The volunteer who wore the same 3 dresses to events. The one who'd shown up to a black tie fundraiser in a cocktail dress because she'd thought black tie meant nice, not floor length. Victoria had noticed immediately. Darling, didn't anyone teach you the dress code? Serena had smiled, apologized, learned. She learned everything. Which fork? Which glass? How to small talk with women who spent more on their shoes than Serena had earned in a month at the hospital. How to nod when they asked where she'd summered, what school she'd attended, whose daughter she was. She'd never corrected them. Now she sat on the hotel bed, divorce papers spread across the white comforter. The settlement Adrian offered was $7 million. Lump sum. Clean break. She'd keep her personal belongings, her car, a 3-year-old sedan she'd bought herself, and any gifts received during the marriage that weren't family heirlooms. The ring would go back to Victoria. Her phone sat silent on the nightstand. No one knew she was here. Adrian thought she'd go to her apartment, the small 1-bedroom in Brooklyn she'd kept after the wedding because Victoria had suggested she maintain some independence. Code for, you don't really live here. Serena pressed her hand to her stomach. 8 weeks. Too early to show. Too early to feel anything but the nausea that had started last month. She hadn't planned this. They'd been careful, mostly, except for that weekend in the Hamptons when Adrian had actually relaxed for once, when he'd looked at her the way he used to. One weekend. One moment of thinking things might still work. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She let it ring. It buzzed again. Text this time. Ms. Serena, this is Patricia from your father's office. Please call when you can. It's important. Serena stared at the message. Patricia. Her father's personal assistant for 20 years. The woman who'd sent birthday cards when Serena was growing up, who'd arranged plane tickets when Serena visited during college breaks, who'd helped Serena maintain the careful distance her father had requested. "Live your own life," he'd said when she turned 18. "Build something yourself. When you're ready, we'll talk." She'd taken him seriously. Worked through college. Volunteered. Built her life without the name, without the connections, without the money that could have made everything easier. She'd wanted to prove she could. And she had. Until she met Adrian and realized that to his world, proving yourself without money just meant you didn't have money. She called Patricia. "Ms. Serena." Patricia's voice came through warm, relieved. "Thank God. We've been trying to reach you." Serena stopped. "What's important?" "Your father needs to see you. Tonight, if possible. He's at the New York office." "Patricia, it's almost 11. "I know, but he's insisting. Please, Ms. Serena. It's urgent." Serena looked at the divorce papers, at the hotel room, at the life she'd built carefully crumbling into something she didn't recognize. "I'll be there in 30 minutes. She hung up, gathered the papers, pulled her coat back on. The exhaustion sitting in her bones would have to wait. The building rose 60 stories into the Manhattan skyline. Glass and steel, lit from within. The logo discreet but unmistakable to anyone who knew what they were looking at. Serena had been here twice. Once at 16, once at 21. Both times brief. Both times her father had been kind but distant, treating her like a respected stranger. The security guard at the desk looked up as she entered. "Serena Laurent for Ms. Laurent." He was already standing, already gesturing to the private elevator. "Mr. Laurent is expecting you. 60th floor." The elevator moved in silence. Serena watched the numbers climb, watched her reflection in the polished doors. She looked tired, pale. The dress she'd worn to her anniversary dinner suddenly felt ridiculous. The doors opened. Her father stood in the hall. 63, silver-haired, wearing a shirt and slacks like he'd been working. He looked at her and his expression did something. Softened, tightened, broke slightly at the edges. "Serena." "Dad." He moved forward, pulled her into a hug, sudden, firm, the kind of hug she hadn't expected. She stood rigid for a moment, then her hands came up, gripped his back. When he pulled away, his jaw was set. "Patricia said it was urgent," Serena said. "It is?" He gestured down the hall. "My office. We need to talk." She followed him through glass doors into a corner office that overlooked the city. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Minimal furniture. A desk with 3 monitors, all dark. He didn't sit. Neither did she. "I received a call today," he said, "from my attorney. Apparently Adrian Caldwell filed for divorce this morning." Serena's chest went tight. "How did you—" "I keep track." His voice was quiet. "I've always kept track. You asked me to stay out of your life, to let you build something on your own, and I respected that. But I've always kept track. Dad, he served you tonight. At Le Bernardin. On your anniversary." It wasn't a question. Serena's throat closed. She nodded. Her father's hand curled into a fist, released, curled again. He walked to the window, looked out at the city. "You're pregnant." "How?" "Your medical records are flagged in our system. I get alerts for—" He stopped, turned to face her. "I get alerts. 8 weeks. You told him last week." "And he filed for divorce this morning," Serena finished. Her voice came out flat. "Efficient." "Efficient." Her father's expression went cold in a way Serena had never seen. "That's one word for it." He crossed to his desk, pressed a button on his phone. "Patricia." Get me everything on Caldwell Industries. Full breakdown, debts, holdings, partnerships, board structure. I want it by morning. Yes, sir. He released the button, looked at Serena. You're not signing those papers. Dad, You're not signing them, he repeated, because that settlement is an insult, and because Adrian Caldwell is about to learn exactly who he married. Serena's hands tightened on her purse. I didn't want this. I didn't want you to interfere. I wanted to build your own life, I know. His voice softened. And you did. You built something real. You volunteered. You worked. You made a difference. You met someone, you fell in love, you got married. You did all of that without me, without the name, without the money. And look where it got me. It got you here. With me. Finally. He moved closer. Serena, I have respected your boundaries for 10 years. I let you walk away from all of this because you asked me to. But my daughter is pregnant and her husband served her divorce papers on their anniversary because his mother thinks she's not good enough. The words hung in the air. He said I'm not equipped for his life. He said what? Serena's throat burned. That I try, but it's exhausting watching me try. That I'm lovely but not compatible. That the baby is a complication he should have avoided. Her father didn't move for 3 seconds. Then he walked back to his desk, picked up his phone, dialed. Michael, it's Laurent. I need you to pull every line of credit Caldwell Industries has with any institution we have influence over. Yes, tonight. I don't care what time it is. And I want a full audit of their board structure. I want to know who sits where and who owes what. He hung up, dialed again. Catherine, I need a favor. That charity board you chair, the one Victoria Caldwell sits on. I need her removed. Quiet, clean, but permanent. Because I'm about to make life very difficult for her family, and I don't want her anywhere near an institution I donate to. He hung up. Serena stood frozen. Dad, what are you doing? What I should have done the day you married him. He looked at her. I'm protecting my daughter, and I'm teaching Adrian Caldwell that some mistakes are too expensive to make. The call came at 6 in the morning. Adrian woke to his phone vibrating on the nightstand, insistent, relentless. He grabbed it without looking at the screen. What? Mr. Caldwell, it's Richard, his CFO, voice tight. We have a problem. Adrian sat up. What kind of problem? 3 of our credit lines were pulled overnight. No warning, no explanation. Just pulled. That's impossible. We have contracts. Apparently there are clauses. Discretionary clauses the banks are invoking. And that's not all. 2 board members called me this morning. They're stepping down. Immediately. Adrian's jaw tightened. Who? Harrison and Chen, both citing personal conflicts of interest, both refusing to elaborate. Adrian stood, moved to his window. The city stretched out below his penthouse, still dark in the pre-dawn. This doesn't make sense. What changed? I don't know. But Mr. Caldwell, something is happening. This is coordinated. Adrian hung up, dialed his attorney. Adrian. James sounded awake, alert. Bad sign. I was about to call you. Tell me what's happening. I don't know yet. But I got a message this morning from opposing counsel. Serena hired an attorney? Not exactly. James paused. She has representation. The firm is Whitmore and Associates. Adrian's hand tightened on the phone. Whitmore and Associates, the firm that represented heads of state, multinational corporations, billionaires who needed lawyers meaner than their enemies. On a volunteer's salary? Adrian, James's voice dropped. Who is Serena? Really? What kind of question? Because Whitmore doesn't take small clients. They don't take million-dollar divorces. They take cases that matter, cases with stakes, cases with... He stopped. Who's paying for this? Adrian didn't answer. His mother's call came 10 minutes later. Adrian. Victoria's voice was ice. "Tell me you didn't divorce that girl." "Mother, it's 6 in the morning. Tell me you didn't. I filed yesterday. She was served last night. It's done." Silence on the line. Then, "You idiot." Adrian's jaw clenched. "Excuse me?" "I was removed from the Children's Hospital Board this morning. Removed. After 15 years. They cited organizational restructuring. But we both know what this is." What is? Retaliation. Someone is making moves. Someone with power. And it started the morning you filed for divorce. Her voice sharpened. "Who is she, Adrian? Who is Serena?" "She's nobody. She's a volunteer who..." "Nobody doesn't have Whitmore and Associates. Nobody doesn't get me removed from boards I've sat on for over a decade. Nobody doesn't make credit lines disappear overnight." Adrian's chest went cold. "What are you talking about? Your CFO hasn't called you yet? 3 credit lines. Gone. Board members resigning. And I'm hearing whispers, quiet ones, that someone very powerful is very angry about something that happened last night." Adrian moved to his computer, opened his email. 12 messages from Richard. 6 from James. 3 from board members he'd considered allies. All sent within the last hour. "Find out who her father is," Victoria said. "Find out right now. Because if this is what I think it is, her father is nobody. She never mentioned him. She said he wasn't in her life." "Then you're a fool who didn't ask the right questions." Victoria's voice cut like glass. "Fix this, Adrian, before it gets worse." She hung up. Adrian stood in his apartment, phone in hand, watching the sun rise over a city that suddenly felt different. Unstable. Shifting under his feet. He dialed James. "I need you to find out everything about Serena's family. Everything. Her father, her mother, where she came from, how she paid for school. Everything. I'm already on it. I'll call you back." 20 minutes later, James called. "Adrian." His voice was different, careful. "Sit down. Just tell me." "Serena Laurent, born in Switzerland, mother deceased. Father is..." He stopped. "Christ, Adrian. Her father is Guillaume Laurent." The name didn't land immediately. Then it did. Guillaume Laurent. CEO of Laurent Global Holdings. Net worth estimated at $70 billion. $70 billion with interest in technology, real estate, pharmaceutical manufacturing, venture capital. A man who didn't do interviews, didn't seek publicity, operated empires from behind closed doors. A man whose daughter Adrian had just divorced. On their anniversary. While she was pregnant, Adrian's legs folded. He sat heavily on his couch. "Tell me this is a different Guillaume Laurent." "It's not. I verified. Birth records, corporate filings, everything. Serena Laurent is his only child. She's been living under her own name, building her own life, completely independent of his wealth. But she's his daughter. And you just..." James stopped. "You just made a very expensive mistake." Adrian's phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. "Mr. Caldwell. My name is Patricia Chen. I'm calling on behalf of Guillaume Laurent. He'd like to meet with you. Today. His office. Noon. This is not optional." Adrian stared at the message. His phone rang again. Richard. "Adrian, we just lost another credit line, and I'm getting calls from partners asking if we're in trouble. What do I tell them?" Adrian didn't answer. He was reading the text again. This is not optional. The 60th floor was quiet. Adrian stepped off the elevator into a reception area that cost more than most apartments. Marble floors, original art, silence so complete it felt intentional. A woman sat behind a glass desk, silver-haired, professional. "Mr. Caldwell," she stood. "Mr. Laurent is expecting you. This way." She led him through glass doors into a hallway lined with windows. The city spread out below, smaller from up here. Controllable. The corner office doors were open. Guillaume Laurent stood by the window. Tall, silver-haired, wearing a white shirt with the sleeves rolled to his elbows. He didn't turn when Adrian entered. "Mr. Caldwell, sit." It wasn't a request. Adrian sat in one of the leather chairs facing the desk. Guillaume turned, walked to his desk, remained standing. "Do you know who I am?" "Yes, sir." "And you know who my daughter is?" "I do now." Guillaume's expression didn't shift. "You served her divorce papers last night, on your anniversary, at a restaurant, in public." Adrian's throat was dry. "Yes." "She's 8 weeks pregnant with your child." "Yes." "And you told her the pregnancy was a complication you wished you'd avoided." Adrian's jaw tightened. "How did he—" "I know everything, Mr. Caldwell. I know my daughter asked you to keep her background private when you married. I know she built a life independent of my wealth because she wanted to prove herself. I know she worked, volunteered, earned her own way. And I know that despite all of that, your mother decided she wasn't good enough for your family." Guillaume leaned forward, palms flat on his desk. "Your mother." "Victoria Caldwell, who married into money, who's been living off your father's family wealth for 30 years, who contributes nothing but opinions and cruelty. That woman decided my daughter, wasn't equipped for your world." Adrian said nothing. "You have lost 3 credit lines as of this morning. 2 board members have resigned. Your mother has been removed from the hospital board she loved. And Mr. Caldwell, this is just the beginning." "Mr. Laurent, I am not finished." Guillaume's voice stayed level, but something underneath it burned. "You are going to learn something about power. Real power. Not the kind you inherit or marry into. The kind you build. The kind that moves nations, markets, lives." He straightened, walked to the window. "Caldwell Industries is worth approximately $4 billion. Respectable. Mid-tier. You have holdings in real estate development, some tech investments, a few venture capital plays. You employ 3,000 people across 6 states. Your board is made up of men who've known your family for generations." He turned to face Adrian. "I control $70 billion in assets. I have interests in 43 countries. I employ 200,000 people. And I have relationships with institutions, governments, and individuals who owe me favors going back decades." He paused. "I can end you, Mr. Caldwell. Not damage you. Not hurt you. End you. And I can do it by Friday." Adrian's hands gripped the chair arms. "But I won't," Guillaume continued, "because my daughter wouldn't want that. She's kind, generous. She believes people deserve chances, second chances, grace. She got that from her mother." He moved back to his desk. "So, here's what's going to happen. You are going to withdraw those divorce papers. You are going to apologize to my daughter. You are going to attend therapy, couples therapy, individual therapy, whatever she requires. You are going to be the husband she deserved from the beginning and the father your child needs." "And if I don't?" Guillaume smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "Then I dismantle everything you have, your company, your reputation, your mother's social standing, every connection your family has built. I do it slowly, publicly, and completely. And when I'm finished, the Caldwell name will be a cautionary tale about what happens when you underestimate the wrong woman." Adrian's throat closed. "You think I'm bluffing." Guillaume opened a folder on his desk, slid it across. "This is a breakdown of every debt, every partnership, every board connection your company relies on. In the margins, I've noted which ones I control directly or indirectly. It's 70% of your business, Mr. Caldwell. 70% exists because institutions I have relationships with allow it to exist." Adrian opened the folder. Page after page of detailed financial analysis, notations in red ink, connections mapped out like a web with Laurent Global Holdings at the center. His hands shook. "I don't want your company," Guillaume said. "I don't want your money. I want you to understand what you did. You married a woman who loved you, a woman who tried to fit into your world despite your mother's cruelty, a woman who's carrying your child. And you thanked her by humiliating her in public because you lacked the spine to stand up to your mother. He closed the folder. So, you have a choice. Fix this. Genuinely. Completely. Permanently. Or lose everything and spend the rest of your life explaining to your child why their mother was worth less to you than your mother's approval. Guillaume walked to the door, opened it. You have until Monday. After that, the next credit line disappears. Adrian stood on shaking legs. He walked to the door, stopped. Does Serena know you're doing this? Guillaume looked at him. My daughter thinks you made a choice last night. She thinks you chose your mother over her and your child. She thinks she failed to be enough for you. His expression hardened. So no, she doesn't know, and you're not going to tell her. You're going to fix this because you realize you were wrong, because you grew a conscience and a spine, because you decided she was worth fighting for. And if I can't convince her, then you don't deserve her, and I'll still destroy you. But at least she'll know her child's father tried. Adrian left. The elevator ride down felt longer than the ride up. His phone buzzed continuously. Richard, James, his mother, board members, partners. Everyone asking what was happening, what to do, how to fix it. He didn't answer any of them. He went home, sat in his apartment, and looked at the divorce papers his attorney had drawn up. $7 million settlement, custody arrangements, clean break. He'd thought he was being generous. He'd thought he was fixing a mistake. Now he saw it for what it was. A man who'd valued his mother's opinion more than his wife's dignity, who'd chosen comfort over character, who'd served divorce papers on an anniversary because efficiency mattered more than humanity. He picked up his phone, dialed. James, withdraw the divorce filing. Silence. Then, Adrian, are you sure? After what Laurent? Withdraw it, today, and send flowers to Serena. No, he stopped. Flowers weren't enough. Nothing was enough. Find out where she is. I need to talk to her. Adrian. Find her. He hung up, stared at his apartment, at the life he'd built on inherited money and old connections, at the empire his father had started and his mother had polished into something respectable, at the hollowness of all of it. Serena sat in her father's guest suite, a penthouse apartment connected to the main office building, reserved for executives and family. Floor-to-ceiling windows, furniture that cost more than some cars. A kitchen she hadn't touched. She'd slept 4 hours, woken to Patricia bringing breakfast she couldn't eat, spent the morning staring at her phone, waiting for it to ring. It didn't. Adrian hadn't called, hadn't texted. The divorce papers sat on the coffee table, unsigned. Her father knocked once, entered. How are you feeling? Tired. He sat in the chair across from her. I spoke with Adrian this morning. Serena's head came up. You what? I asked him to come to my office. We had a conversation. Dad, I didn't tell you because I knew you'd try to stop me. His voice was gentle. And I needed him to understand what he'd done. Serena's hands curled into fists. You can't just fix this. You can't make him want me. You can't force him to. I didn't force anything. I gave him a choice. What choice? Guillaume stood, walked to the window. I told him he could fix his mistake or lose everything. I told him I controlled enough of his business to end it. And I told him that if he wanted to keep what he'd built, he needed to be the man you deserved. Serena's chest went tight. You threatened him. I gave him clarity. That's not the same as him choosing me. Her voice cracked. That's not the same as him loving me. Guillaume turned to face her. No, it's not. But it's a start. And Serena, if he comes back, if he apologizes, If he tries, you don't have to forgive him. You don't have to take him back. This is your choice, always your choice. Then why did you threaten him? Because he needed to understand that actions have consequences, that cruelty has costs, that you are not someone who can be discarded. Serena looked at her father, this man she'd kept at a distance for a decade, who'd respected her boundaries even when it hurt, who'd let her build a life without interference, who'd dismantled her husband's empire in a night because someone had hurt his daughter. What if he doesn't change? She asked quietly. Then you have me. You have resources. You have everything you need to raise this child and build whatever life you want. He moved closer. And Serena, I need you to hear this. You are not defined by his rejection. You are not less because he couldn't see your worth. You are my daughter. You are brilliant and kind and strong, and whatever happens next, you are enough. Her throat burned. I wanted to do this on my own. I know. I wanted to prove I didn't need the money or the name. And you did. You proved it. You built a life, a career, a marriage, all without me. You proved you could. He sat beside her. But proving yourself doesn't mean facing everything alone. It doesn't mean refusing help when someone hurts you. Serena's eyes stung. I'm so tired, Dad. I know. I thought he loved me. Maybe he did. Maybe he does. But love isn't enough if it doesn't come with respect. Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Serena, it's Adrian. I need to talk to you. Please. I know I have no right to ask, but please give me a chance to explain. She showed her father the message. He read it, handed the phone back. What do you want to do? I don't know. Then don't answer yet. Take time. Think. And remember, whatever you decide, you're not alone. Serena looked at the message, at the man who'd served her divorce papers 12 hours ago, at the word please appearing twice in 3 sentences. She turned off her phone. 3 days passed. Adrian called 17 times, texted 23, sent flowers, white peonies like their wedding, left voicemails that started apologetic and ended desperate. Serena ignored all of it. She stayed in her father's guest suite, slept, ate when Patricia insisted, let her father's private doctor examine her, confirm the pregnancy was progressing normally. 8 weeks, 3 days now. A poppy seed becoming a kidney bean. Her father worked in his office below, making calls she didn't ask about. Patricia brought updates she didn't want. Adrian had withdrawn the divorce filing. Victoria had been removed from 3 more boards. Caldwell Industries stock had dropped 2% on rumors of instability. Serena felt nothing about any of it. On the 4th morning, she woke to nausea so violent she barely made it to the bathroom. She knelt on the cold tile, retching, empty, her body rejecting everything, including itself. Patricia appeared with water, crackers, a cool cloth. It'll pass, she said gently. First trimester is hardest. Serena sat with her back against the bathtub. How do you know? I have 3 children. Patricia smiled. All grown now. But I remember. Did their father? Serena stopped. Leave? Patricia's expression softened. No. But he wasn't always there. Work, travel, priorities that seemed more important. I learned early that you can't make someone choose you. You can only decide what you're willing to accept. Serena pulled her knees to her chest. What did you accept? Less than I deserved. For longer than I should have. Patricia handed her the water. But I also learned that being alone is better than being with someone who makes you feel alone. Serena sipped the water. It stayed down. Adrian's downstairs, Patricia said quietly. Serena's head came up. What? In the lobby. He's been there since 6 this morning. Security won't let him up, but he won't leave. He's just sitting there. Serena stood, walked to the bathroom mirror. She looked hollow, pale. Her hair needed washing. She wore the same clothes she'd slept in. She looked like someone who'd been served divorce papers on her anniversary. I don't want to see him. I know. I just thought you should know he's there. Patricia left. Serena stood in the bathroom, hand pressed to her stomach. The nausea had passed, but something else sat there now. Sharp, angry, hot. How dare he? How dare he sit in the lobby like a supplicant, like someone deserving of her time, her attention, her forgiveness? How dare he send flowers and texts and voicemails after handing her divorce papers between champagne flutes? She showered, dressed in clothes her father's assistant had bought, simple, expensive, fitting perfectly. Put on makeup, pulled her hair back, looked like herself again. Then she took the elevator down. Adrian sat in the lobby with his phone in his hands, dark circles under his eyes, wearing the same suit from yesterday. Security watched him from the desk. Other people passed through, executives, assistants, visitors, all of them glancing at him, recognizing something broken. The elevator opened. Serena stepped out. Adrian stood so fast he nearly dropped his phone. Serena. She walked toward him. Her heels clicked on the marble floor, steady, controlled, each step deliberate. She stopped 6 feet away. You need to leave. I know I have no right to be here. I know I don't deserve. Then leave. Please, his voice cracked. Please, just give me 5 minutes. Let me explain. Explain what? That you filed for divorce the day after I told you I was pregnant? That you chose the most efficient date to humiliate me? That you called our baby a complication? Adrian's face went white. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Serena, You were honest. Her voice stayed level. You were finally honest. You told me I wasn't equipped for your life. That watching me try was exhausting. That I was lovely but not compatible. Those weren't lies, Adrian. Those were the things you'd been thinking for months. No. Yes. She stepped closer. Your mother spent 3 years telling me I wasn't enough. And you let her. Every comment about my clothes, my background, my education, you stood there and let her. Because some part of you agreed. That's not true. Then why did you file? Her voice sharpened. If you loved me, if you thought I was enough, why did you walk into that restaurant with divorce papers? Adrian's hand shook. Because I was scared. Of what? Of being a father. Of failing. He stopped. Of my mother being right. Serena's jaw tightened. She said I married too young, Adrian continued. That I didn't know what I was getting into. That you were sweet, but not suitable. And when you got pregnant, she said I had a choice. Fix my mistake now, or spend the rest of my life paying for it. So you chose to fix it. I chose wrong. His voice broke. I chose to listen to her instead of fighting for you. I chose the easy path, the one that kept the peace with my mother, the one that let me pretend this was all reasonable. And I didn't see what I was doing until my father threatened you. Adrian went still. Serena watched him. You think I don't know? You think my father makes moves like that without me finding out? Serena. He told you he'd destroy your company. He showed you how much of your business he controls. He gave you a choice. Fix this or lose everything. She paused. So which is it, Adrian? Are you here because you realized you were wrong? Or because you can't afford to be wrong? Adrian's throat worked. Both. At least he was honest. I withdrew the filing, he said, before your father threatened me. That morning I was sitting in my apartment looking at those papers and I realized what I'd done, and I called my attorney and told him to withdraw everything. Before or after you met with my father? After I got his message. But before the meeting. I swear, Serena, I was already trying to fix this. Why? Because I missed you." His voice dropped. I went home to an empty apartment and realized I'd thrown away the only thing that mattered. Not the company, not my mother's approval, not the life I thought I wanted. You, I threw away you. Serena's chest ached, but her face stayed smooth. You served me divorce papers on our anniversary, Adrian. You looked me in the eye and called our baby a complication. You can't come back from that with an apology and some flowers. I know. You broke something. Not just my trust. Her voice caught. She forced it steady. My belief that I mattered to you. That I was worth choosing. And I can't fix that for you. I can't make myself believe you again. Adrian's eyes were wet. What if I prove it? What if I spend every day showing you I choose you? How? By doing what my father told you to? By attending therapy because he demanded it? By being nice because you're scared of losing your company? She shook her head. That's not choosing me, Adrian. That's choosing survival. Then what do I do? His voice was raw. Tell me what to do, and I'll do it. Serena looked at him. This man she'd loved. This man she'd married. This man who'd held her hand during their vows and promised her forever. This man who'd handed her divorce papers 3 days ago. You leave, she said quietly. You go back to your life. You deal with your mother. You figure out who you are when no one's threatening you and no one's telling you what to do. And if you're still the man who thinks I'm worth fighting for, if you're still the man who wants to be a father, then maybe we talk. In a month? In 6 months? When you've proven something to yourself, not to me. Serena, I'm not saying no forever. I'm saying no right now. Because I can't trust you yet. And I won't raise a child with someone I can't trust. She turned. Adrian's voice stopped her. I love you. She looked back. I know. But love isn't enough when it comes with conditions. When it disappears the moment things get hard. When it can't stand up to your mother's disapproval. What if it can now? Then prove it. Not to me. To yourself. She walked back to the elevator, pressed the button. The doors opened. She stepped inside. Adrian stood in the lobby, watching her rise out of sight. Serena leaned against the elevator wall, pressed her hand to her stomach, and let herself cry. 2 months later. Serena sat in her father's office. Not the guest suite, the actual office, learning the business she'd spent 10 years avoiding. Finance, acquisitions, strategic planning. Her father taught her patiently, proudly, making up for lost time. She was 13 weeks pregnant now. A lemon. The nausea had passed. Her stomach showed slightly if she wore tight clothes. She wore loose clothes. Adrian called once a week. Same day. Same time. Always asking the same question. Can we talk? She always said no. But his calls came like clockwork. And his voicemails were different now. Not desperate, not apologetic, just present. Hey, it's me. I know you don't want to talk. That's okay. I just wanted to tell you I'm in therapy. Twice a week, individual, working through some things. Anyway, I hope you're well. I hope the baby's okay. Call if you want, or don't. I'll try again next week, week after week. The messages stayed consistent, stayed respectful, never pushed. Her father noticed. He's still calling. Once a week. You going to answer? Serena looked out the window at the city below. I don't know. What would it take? For me to trust him again? She thought about it. I'd need to see him stand up to his mother, really stand up. Not just avoid her, confront her. Tell her she was wrong about me. You think he will? I think he's trying to figure out how. Her phone buzzed, text from Patricia. Victoria Caldwell is here. She's asking to see you. Serena showed her father. His expression hardened. You don't have to see her. I know. Serena stood. But I want to. Serena, I want to. She smoothed her shirt. Send her up. 5 minutes later, Victoria Caldwell stepped into the office. She looked smaller somehow, thinner. The careful polish was still there. Designer clothes, perfect hair, but something underneath had shifted. Her expression when she saw Serena was complicated, guarded. Serena. Mrs. Caldwell. They stood across from each other. Guillaume remained at his desk, watching. I came to apologize, Victoria said. Serena waited. I treated you poorly. From the beginning. I made assumptions about who you were based on. She stopped. Based on nothing. Based on my own insecurities. And I pushed my son to end his marriage because I couldn't accept that he'd chosen someone I didn't control. The words sounded rehearsed, but not insincere. Why now? Serena asked. Because I've spent 2 months watching my son fall apart. Watching him try to fix what I encouraged him to break. And because I lost everything I'd built socially because I underestimated you. She paused. Your father made sure of that. Guillaume didn't react. So you're here because you lost your board seats, Serena said. No, I'm here because I was wrong. Victoria's voice firmed. I'm here because you're pregnant with my grandchild, because my son loves you, because I spent 3 years being cruel to someone who deserved better. Serena's hand moved to her stomach. Unconscious. Protective, Victoria noticed. How far along are you? 13 weeks. Do you know, it's too early to tell. Victoria nodded. Silence stretched between them. I don't expect forgiveness, she said finally. I don't expect anything. I just needed you to know I'm sorry. And if you decide to give Adrian another chance, if you decide to let him be part of this child's life, I'll respect whatever boundaries you set. Her voice caught. I'll do better. Serena studied her. This woman who'd spent 3 years making her feel small, who'd critiqued every dress, every word, every choice, who'd convinced her son she wasn't enough. Did Adrian send you? No, he doesn't know I'm here. He'd probably be angry if he did. Why? Because he told me to stay away from you. 2 weeks ago. He came to my house and told me that every cruel thing I'd ever said to you, every time I'd made you feel inadequate, he'd been complicit, and that he was done. Done enabling me, done seeking my approval, done letting me influence his life. Serena's chest tightened. What did you say? I told him he was overreacting, that I'd only wanted what was best for him. Victoria's expression cracked slightly. He said if I thought losing you was what's best, then I didn't know him at all. And he left. Silence. We haven't spoken since, Victoria added quietly. Serena looked at her father. He raised his eyebrows slightly. Your call. Thank you for the apology, Serena said. I appreciate it. But I need time to process this, to figure out what I want, for me and for this baby. I understand. And Mrs. Caldwell, if you're here because you want access to your grandchild, that's not happening right now. Maybe not ever. That depends on a lot of things, including whether your son can prove he's changed. Victoria nodded. That's fair. She turned to leave, stopped. For what it's worth, Serena, you were always enough. More than enough. I was just too stubborn to see it. She left. Serena sat heavily in her father's guest chair. Well, Guillaume said, that was unexpected. He stood up to her. Apparently. Serena pulled out her phone, stared at Adrian's number. 2 months of weekly calls. 2 months of giving her space. 2 months of therapy and change she hadn't witnessed. She dialed. He answered on the first ring. Serena? Your mother was here. Pause. What? When? Just now, she apologized. I didn't send her. I swear. I told her to stay away. I know. She told me. Serena's throat tightened. She said you confronted her, that you haven't spoken in 2 weeks. Adrian was quiet for a moment. I should have done it years ago. I should have protected you from her. I'm sorry I didn't. Why now? Because my therapist asked me a question. She asked if I was trying to fix things with you to save my company or because I genuinely wanted to be better, and I realized I didn't know. So I had to. He stopped. I had to make a choice that cost me something. A choice that proved to myself I meant it. Cutting off your mother cost you something? It cost me the last excuse, the last person to blame. If I can't fix this, it's because of me. Not her. Not your father. Me. Serena closed her eyes. I'm not ready to see you yet. Okay. But I'm also not saying never. Okay. His voice went soft. That's enough. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just keep doing the work. For you. Not for me. I will. She hung up. Her father watched her. You're thinking about giving him another chance. I'm thinking about protecting my child. Making sure they have a father who shows up. Who chooses them. And if Adrian can't be that person, then they have me. And you. And that's enough. Guillaume smiled slightly. Yes, it is. 4 months later. Serena stood in front of her bathroom mirror, 29 weeks pregnant, wearing a dress that no longer hid anything, an avocado, a cantaloupe, a squash, now a small pumpkin, kicking her ribs, hiccuping at odd hours. She'd learned the sex at 20 weeks. A girl. She'd told Adrian over the phone. He'd cried. They still hadn't seen each other, but the calls had increased, twice a week now, then 3 times. Conversations about baby names, nursery colors, fears neither of them had voiced before. He'd asked to come to an ultrasound appointment. She'd said yes. That was tomorrow. Tonight she sat in her father's office. Her office now, technically. Junior Vice President of Strategic Development. A title she'd earned, a role she'd grown into, work that mattered. Her phone buzzed. Text from Adrian. Still okay for tomorrow? I can bring coffee. Decaf. The good kind. She smiled. Yes. 10 a.m. Don't be late. I won't. I promise. She believed him. The next morning, Serena arrived at her doctor's office 15 minutes early. Adrian was already there, sitting in the waiting room. Wearing jeans and a sweater instead of a suit. He looked different. Lighter somehow. Less polished, more present. He stood when he saw her. Hi. Hi. They stood 3 feet apart. 5 months since the divorce papers. 5 months since she'd walked away from him in her father's lobby. You look, he stopped. You look beautiful. I look pregnant. That too. He smiled slightly. Can I? He gestured vaguely toward her stomach. Serena nodded. Adrian stepped closer, placed his hand gently on her belly. The baby kicked immediately, like she knew. His eyes went wide. Was that? She's active. She. His voice broke. Our daughter. Our daughter. The nurse called her name. They walked back together, sat in the exam room, waited. Adrian's hand found hers. She let him hold it. The ultrasound showed a healthy baby. Strong heartbeat. Perfect measurements. She was head down now, preparing. Adrian stared at the screen like he was memorizing it. Can I come to the next one? He asked quietly. Serena looked at him. At the man who'd handed her divorce papers 7 months ago. At the man who'd spent 7 months proving he'd changed. Yes. Relief flooded his face. Thank you. They left the office together. Stood on the sidewalk in October cold. Serena. Adrian turned to her. I know I don't deserve this. Any of this. I know I broke something that might never fully heal. But I want you to know I'm not doing this because your father threatened me. Or because I'm scared of losing my company. I'm doing this because I love you. Because I want to be a father. Because I want to be the man I should have been from the beginning. I know. And I know you're not ready to trust me yet. Maybe you never will be. But I'm going to keep showing up. Keep trying. Keep proving that I choose you. Both of you. Serena's eyes stung. Adrian, her water broke. The liquid came sudden, warm, soaking through her clothes. She gasped. Adrian's face went white. Oh, God. Oh, God. Okay. It's okay. We're hospital. I'm only 29 weeks. I know. But we're going to... He was already pulling out his phone, dialing. We need an ambulance. He looked at Serena. My wife. She's pregnant. 29 weeks. Her water broke. Wife. He still called her his wife. The ambulance came. EMTs loaded her carefully. Adrian rode with her, holding her hand, talking to her, keeping her calm even though his own hands shook. At the hospital, doctors moved fast. Steroids for the baby's lungs, monitors everywhere, contractions starting. We're going to try to stop labor, the doctor said. But if we can't, 29 weeks is viable. The NICU here is excellent. Serena nodded, unable to speak. Adrian sat beside her bed. You're okay. She's okay. Everything's going to be okay. You don't know that. No, but I'm here, and I'm not leaving. Labor didn't stop. At 8 that night, Serena gave birth to a 3-pound baby girl, tiny, red, screaming with remarkable strength for someone so small. They let Serena hold her for 30 seconds before the NICU team took her. She's strong, the nurse said, breathing on her own. That's excellent for 29 weeks. Then she was gone. Adrian and Serena sat in the delivery room, empty-armed, terrified. What do we name her? Serena whispered. Adrian looked at her. I don't know. What do you want? Something strong, something that means fighter. Bridget, it means strength. Serena tested it. Bridget Laurent Caldwell. Are you... Adrian stopped. You're giving her my name? She's your daughter. But we're not together. No. But she's still yours. And I'm not going to take that from you. Serena's voice firmed. I'm not going to punish her for what you did to me. Adrian's face crumpled. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. For all of it. For being weak. For choosing wrong. For hurting you when you deserved... Stop. Serena's hand found his. I know you're sorry. I've known for months. But Adrian, I need you to understand something. Sorry isn't enough. Changed is enough. And I need to see it. Not in phone calls. Not in therapy sessions. In real life. In how you treat me. How you treat our daughter. How you stand up to your mother when she inevitably criticizes my parenting. She won't. She will. And when she does, you need to choose us. I will. I promise. Every time. Serena looked at him. Okay. Okay. We can try. Not marriage. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But we can co-parent. We can see if you really have changed. We can... She stopped. We can see if there's anything left to save. Adrian's hand tightened on hers. There is. I know there is. Then prove it. I will. A nurse appeared in the doorway. You can see her now. She's stable. In an incubator, but stable. They followed the nurse to the NICU. Through locked doors, past other tiny babies to an incubator in the corner. Bridget Laurent Caldwell, 3 pounds, 4 ounces, eyes closed, breathing. Serena pressed her hand to the incubator's plastic. Adrian did the same. She looks like you, he said softly. She looks like herself. She's perfect. She's early. She's small. She's going to be here for weeks. Then we'll be here for weeks. Adrian looked at Serena. However long it takes. Serena nodded. Too tired to argue, too scared to hope. But she let him stay. 6 weeks in the NICU. Adrian came every day, brought coffee, sat in the uncomfortable chair, learned to change diapers the size of his hand, read to Bridget from children's books even though she couldn't understand yet. Serena watched him, cautious, testing. He never complained, never made it about himself, never asked for more than she offered. And slowly, so slowly she almost didn't notice, something shifted. Her father visited weekly, met Adrian properly for the first time since that day in his office. They were cordial, carefully polite. Victoria came once, stood outside the NICU looking at her granddaughter through glass and cried. She didn't ask to hold her, didn't ask for access, just stood there, absorbing what her cruelty had almost cost her. When Bridget was finally released, 5 pounds, healthy, cleared to go home, Serena made a decision. She invited Adrian to her apartment, the Brooklyn one-bedroom she'd kept. Not his penthouse, not her father's building, her space. He came bearing diapers, formula, nervous energy. "You can stay," she said. "Tonight. Help me with the first night home, if you want." "I want." He set the supplies down carefully. "Serena, thank you. For this. For letting me be here. You're her father. You should be here. And you? Should I be here for you?" Serena looked at him. At this man who'd broken her heart 7 months ago, who'd spent 7 months trying to repair it. "I don't know yet. Ask me again in 6 months," he nodded. "I will." That night they took turns with Bridget. Feeding, changing, soothing. Learning her cries, her needs, her tiny personality. At 3 a.m, Serena woke to find Adrian sitting in the rocking chair, Bridget asleep on his chest, tears running down his face. "Adrian?" He looked up. "I almost missed this. I almost threw this away because I was too scared to choose you. Too weak to stand up to my mother. Too selfish to see what I had." Serena sat on the edge of the couch. "But you didn't. You're here now, only because your father threatened me. No, you're here because you made a choice. Every day for 7 months you chose to change. You chose therapy. You chose to confront your mother. You chose to show up." She paused. "The threat got your attention. But you did the work. Is it enough?" Serena looked at her daughter, at the man holding her, at the life they could maybe, possibly, build. "Ask me again in 6 months. He smiled slightly. "I will." 1 year later. Serena stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her dress. Deep blue, fitted, professional. She'd spent the past year learning her father's business while raising Bridget. Learning to balance, to delegate, to demand respect in rooms full of men who'd underestimated her. She'd earned the senior vice president title last month. Behind her, Adrian wrangled Bridget into her outfit. Tiny jeans, tiny shirt, tiny shoes she'd outgrow in a week. She was 14 months now. Walking, babbling, laughing at everything. They'd moved in together 4 months ago. Not to his penthouse, to a brownstone in Brooklyn they'd bought together. Separate bedrooms, shared living space, testing, therapy together now, once a week, working through trust, through hurt, through building something new from broken pieces. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. "Ready?" Adrian asked. "Almost." Today was the Caldwell Industries annual shareholder meeting. Adrian had asked her to come, not as his wife. They still weren't remarried, as a potential partner. 6 months ago, Caldwell Industries had faced a hostile takeover attempt. Adrian had called her father, not for rescue, for advice. Guillaume had given it. Then he'd offered something else, a merger, Laurent Global Holdings and Caldwell Industries, equal partnership, joint leadership, combining resources, reach, vision, on one condition: Victoria could no longer be involved in company decisions. Adrian had agreed immediately. Victoria had raged, threatened, tried to rally board members. She'd failed. The merger was approved 3 months ago. The contract signed last week. Today was the announcement. Serena picked up Bridget. "Let's go show them who we are." They drove to the Caldwell building together, walked in together. Adrian held Bridget while Serena reviewed her notes. She was giving the keynote on integration strategy. A year ago, she'd been served divorce papers. Today, she was reshaping the industry. The auditorium filled, shareholders, board members, press. Victoria sat in the back row, alone, watching. Guillaume sat in the front row, proud. Adrian took the stage first, explained the merger, the vision, the future. Then he called Serena up. She walked onto that stage holding her daughter, set her down with Patricia, who'd come specifically to help, stepped to the microphone. My name is Serena Laurent Caldwell. Some of you know me as Adrian's wife. Some know me as Guillaume Laurent's daughter. But I'm here today as Senior Vice President of Strategic Development for the combined Laurent Caldwell entity. She clicked to her first slide. A year ago, I didn't work in this industry. I volunteered at a children's hospital. I lived quietly. I built a life separate from my father's business. Then circumstances changed. She didn't elaborate. Everyone in the room knew the story. The divorce filing that never went through. The pregnant wife who turned out to be a trillionaire's daughter. The spectacular backfire. I learned this business because I had to. I learned strategy, finance, operations. I learned how to lead, and I learned something else. I learned that underestimating people is expensive. A ripple of laughter. This merger represents the future of global development. Combined resources, combined vision, combined leadership. We're going to change markets. We're going to set standards. We're going to show what happens when you build something based on merit, not assumptions. She presented for 20 minutes, fielded questions for 10 more. Walked off that stage to applause. Adrian met her at the stairs. You were incredible. I was prepared. No, you were incredible. That night, after Bridget was asleep, after the press releases and the congratulations and the exhaustion, Adrian and Serena sat on their couch. Can I ask you something? He said. Yes. It's been 6 months since I last asked. Serena knew what was coming. Okay. Is it enough? Am I enough? She looked at him. This man who'd destroyed her. This man who'd rebuilt himself. This man who showed up every single day for their daughter, for the work, for the hard conversations. You're enough, she said quietly. You've been enough for a while. Then can I? He pulled something from his pocket. A small box. Serena's breath caught. I'm not asking you to forget what I did, Adrian said. I'm not asking you to pretend it didn't happen. I'm asking if you'll let me spend the rest of my life proving I've changed, proving I choose you, both of you. Every day, he opened the box, a ring, not his grandmother's, something new, something chosen. Will you marry me? Again? For real this time? Serena looked at the ring, at the man, at the year they'd spent rebuilding. Ask me something first. Anything. If your mother calls tomorrow and tells you to choose between her and me, what do? I choose you. Every time. Without hesitation. If the board pressures you to make a decision I disagree with, we find a compromise. Or I side with you. Because you're usually right, and I'm learning to admit that. If Bridget grows up and marries someone you don't approve of, I keep my mouth shut and trust her judgment, because that's what parents who respect their children do. Serena smiled slightly. Good answers. So is that a yes? That's a yes. He slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. I love you, he said. I never stopped. Even when I was too weak to show it properly. I know. She leaned into him. I love you too. The version of you that exists now. The one who did the work. I'll keep doing it, every day. I know. They sat in the quiet of their home, their daughter sleeping down the hall, their future uncertain, but possible. It wasn't the fairy tale Serena had imagined when she married him the first time. It was better. It was real. And it was enough. 2 years later, Bridget ran through the Laurent Global Holdings lobby, 3 years old now, fearless. Patricia caught her with practiced ease. "Slow down, little one. Grandpa promised ice cream. After your mother's presentation." Serena walked past, smiled. "Thanks, Patricia. Anytime, Ms. Serena." Or should I say, co-CEO Serena? The title still felt surreal. Co-CEO, her and Adrian. Joint leadership of the merged company. Announced last month. Her father had retired. Finally. At 67, he'd decided it was time, but he hadn't left his company to strangers. He'd left it to his daughter, and to the son-in-law who'd learned the hard way what it cost to underestimate her. Adrian met Serena at the elevator, Bridget between them. "Ready?" he asked. "Always." They took the elevator to the 60th floor, the office that used to be Guillaume's. Now it was theirs. Dual desks, dual authority, equal partnership. The press conference started at 2. Serena stood at the podium, Adrian beside her, Bridget with Patricia in the front row. "Thank you all for coming. Today we're announcing our 5-year strategic plan for Laurent Caldwell Global. We're expanding into renewable energy, increasing our healthcare investments, and launching a foundation dedicated to supporting young professionals from underrepresented backgrounds." She clicked to her slides. Data, projections, vision. This company was built on the principle that talent exists everywhere, but opportunity doesn't. We're going to change that. We're going to find the people who've been overlooked, underestimated, told they don't belong, and we're going to give them the resources to prove everyone wrong. In the front row, Guillaume smiled. In the back row, Victoria sat alone. She'd lost everything. Her social standing, her board seats, her son's trust. She'd tried to apologize again last year. Serena had accepted it, cautiously. She allowed supervised visits with Bridget, limited contact, boundaries that were enforced. Victoria respected them. She had no choice. The press conference ended. Serena and Adrian fielded questions, presented projections, outlined vision. When it finished, they took Bridget for that promised ice cream, sat in a park in Brooklyn, watched their daughter play. "Do you ever think about it?" Adrian asked quietly. "That night, the papers, how close we came to losing this." "Every day. Me too." "Good." Serena looked at him. "Never forget what it cost, what it almost cost." "I won't." Bridget ran back, ice cream on her face. "Mama, look, bird." Serena pulled her close, wiped her face. "I see it, baby. It's beautiful." Adrian's arm came around both of them. This was the life Serena had built, not the one she'd imagined at 25. Not the fairy tale, something harder, messier, more real, something earned. And as she sat there, daughter in her arms, husband beside her, company under her leadership, she realized something. She'd never needed anyone to give her worth. She'd always had it. She just needed to stop accepting less than she deserved. The moment she did, everything changed. What would you have done if you were served divorce papers on your anniversary? Would you have fought for the marriage or walked away? Drop your thoughts below, and if this story hit different, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what happens when people finally learn their lesson.